Hello everyone and welcome. Thank you so much for joining our first ever Humly Community Educator webinar. We wanted to set up this webinar for a number of reasons really, but most important within Humly, we want to start to build a community that our supply educators can feel that they're a part of, but most of all feel valued for all of the work that you guys do. At Humly, we've set up a team of community representatives in each of the regions, and I'd like to introduce you to them today. So for the Northwest, we have the lovely Alicia. For Northeast, I'd like you to meet Chris and Ashley. And for the Midlands and Milton Keynes, we have Vicky Rowe. She's currently on holiday at the moment. And for the South, we have Lani. And in today's webinar, we're going to chat a little bit about how Humly differs from your regular supply agency, how you can maximise your chances of supply work with the Humly app, and how you can upskill yourself with the courses in our Humly Academy. We're also going to go over our Recommend a Friend Offer incentive, which will give you guys all a chance to make some extra cash. And we'll let you know of all of the lovely festive social events that we've got planned over the next few weeks for our educators on the countdown to Christmas. We're also really lucky today as we have a guest speaker joining us, Catherine. Catherine has worked in many roles within schools, and most recently she was a head teacher and a client of Humly's. She's now, on the flip side, she's taken on the role in her spare time, when she does have some spare time, as a supply educator for Humly. And she's going to be sharing with us from a head's perspective what makes an effective supply teacher. And then we'll open up the floor for a short Q&A. If you guys do have any questions as we go, please just pop them in the comments and we'll answer as many as we can. If we don't get a chance to answer yours, don't worry, as we will get back to you in branch to answer your question. So to kick things off, I'm going to give you a bit of a backstory to how Humly was founded, and we'll take a little look at what makes Humly different from your traditional supply agencies. So Humly was founded in Sweden back in 2015 by two Swedish university students. That's Gustav, who's our CEO, and Christopher, our Chief Product Officer. And over the next 4 years, they grew and grew as a company until they became the market leader in Sweden. They then set their sights on the UK and then at the UK supply market in 2019. Over the next 5 years, they acquired 6 UK supply agencies, and Humly now has a strong presence in the Northeast, Northwest, Midlands, Milton Keynes, Hampshire, and now London. So let's take a little look at what sets Humly apart from other supply agencies. So having worked in both the traditional agency model myself before we joined the Humly group, I can see firsthand all of the benefits the Humly way of working brings to our educators. Humly's main mission is to empower educators with total career control through our Humly app. And you can see up front all of the jobs we have to match your preferences, and they're published live on the app for all to see at the same time. You get to see the location and the pay rate for the role, which offers full transparency before you accept a role or express interest in a role. Humly gives you total career control, so you get to choose the jobs that you want to accept, and you're not sitting around waiting for the phone to ring from a consultant to call you. And with our self-appointment feature, you can book yourself directly into the jobs that suit you. The Humly app also takes away all of the admin hassles for you. Everything's recorded in the app, including your timesheets and your work schedule. And Chris will deep dive into that a bit later on with a demo of the app. In Humly, we work together in a team-based model opposed to an individual recruitment consultant model as well. So within our team, we're not driven by commission, whereas most agencies are. We're only driven by carrying out our mission to empower every educator with total career control. So I'm now going to hand over to Chris, who's going to give you a little bit more information about the Humly app and how you can maximise your chance of supply work through the app.
Thank you, Rachel. Hello, everyone, and thank you for your time this afternoon. It's amazing to see so many of you join. It's really exciting to be able to share some of my top tips that I feel will be beneficial when using the Humly app and when looking for that next role. If you are not yet registered with Humly or you're yet to download our app, that is absolutely fine. More details will follow later in the webinar on how you can do this. I just want to add before moving on, once you have downloaded our app, or if you do already have it, please make sure you are using the latest version, and please check for any updates and double check your notifications are on for both the app and within the app settings on your device. You can also access our portal through your web browser via the details to follow later. If you have any questions or any issues when you're using the app, please get in touch with your local branch and we'll be sure to assist you. So please, just starting off with, I've got availability. We can't stress this enough. It's one of the most important areas that we have in our app, especially when kind of looking for that next role, and to maximize kind of how much work you're looking for. All you would need to do is go into the availability section, click a date range. It could be by a day, an afternoon, a morning, or by the hour, and just make sure you've marked yourself as available. There will be times when you're unavailable. It could be set days that you do, or there could be times when you may have a last minute appointment come up or anything like that. It's just really important just to make sure that you mark yourself unavailable, just so you don't get those unexpected kind of calls that come through through the app as well. So all you would need to do is just click into here. Let's choose tomorrow, for example. There we go, and then mark yourself unavailable. And again, if you do, like I mentioned, only have set days that you can work, just select weekdays underneath here, then you just confirm that, and then that'll update for next week and the weeks to follow. So that's availability. I know you're probably the ones who are already working with Humly get calls each week through your local branches, but it is really important, and we just want to make sure that your availability is set so that you can find that right role for you. Moving on to the next important area is your work preferences. This will determine kind of what you will and won't see within the app. Again, though, you can change this at any time, which I'll talk you through now. At the top, you've just got if you're interested in long-term roles or if you're interested in permanent contracts. A long-term role, we would usually say, is 3 or more weeks, and like a short-term role would be day-to-day up to 3 weeks. Permanent contracts, this can be something that, a supply role could then go into a permanent job through the school. Again, we do get schools that contact us looking for that permanent staff directly through Humly. So if you are kind of interested in that, please tick both those boxes. Just underneath, you've got the settings in terms of which schools and educational settings you're happy to work in. Again, if you're happy to do, cover all, you can tick all, kind of depending on your permitted levels. But again, you can change this at any point. You might be in a primary school for the first time. You end up doing a one-to-one role. You absolutely love working with a child with SEN. You actually want to delve into it a little bit deeper. You then can click SEN and kind of start working in SEN settings. And it just maximizes more work for yourself and opportunities. Just underneath, you've got key stages. You may have a preference, you may not. Usually with primary, especially teaching, we would say tick all. That just maximizes more opportunities with Humly. But again, if there is a particular kind of area, like you could be an early years specialist, you could just click maybe nursery or reception, and the same for key stage 1 and 2. And again, with secondary, you can obviously choose from key stage 3 and above. Again, I would just kind of make a note from teaching there, but with teaching assistant work, you can tick all of those, especially with SEN settings. They usually would cover from early years all the way right through to 16. So it's definitely worth ticking all those key stages. Just underneath, this is mainly for your kind of secondary subject specialisms. This would be for the teaching and also cover supervisor work. What I would always say for cover supervisors is make sure you always click general cover. A lot of the jobs that we get through with Humly just come through as general, but then underneath in the notes, it'll have that subject that they wish for you to cover. But again, you can choose any subjects that you're happy. You may have, like I say, your own specialism, but you can take as many as you like. And again, it just maximizing that opportunities for ourselves. Last but not least, with preferences, you've got your area preference. This will be your home address. All you would need to do is just scroll along the bottom and determine on how far you're happy to travel. We usually would say 8 to 10 miles for local work, and then kind of 12 to 15 maybe further afield. It's completely up to yourself and how far you're happy to travel and things like that. So all you would need to do is just scroll that along, and yeah, you can just change that anytime. If you're not seeing enough work maybe locally to you, you just extend that along, and then hopefully you'll see more opportunities. I do want to make a note just with the preferences. When you first when you do our kind of application and you're successful in that application, it goes through to the talent teams within those local regions. They will talk you through kind of which levels that you're permitted to teach kind of or cover within in schools. So let's just use for an example, going back to work preferences here. If you're a teacher and you're happy to do HLTA work, or again, if you're a secondary teacher and you're happy to do kind of cover supervisor work, and the same for if you're a teacher assistant and you want to do some SEN and etc. There is certain permitted levels that due to the qualifications, things like that, we would need to do ourselves. So if anything changes, circumstances can change and you're happy to cover anything else, just please let us know in local branch and we can then change that for you. So once those preferences are all set, your availability set, if you go into jobs here, this is where you'll see all the jobs to match to your preferences. There's two tabs, really straightforward to see. You've got your long-term and permanent roles at the top. These jobs would look more like something you'd find like a job board. All these jobs are advertised as well through the likes of Indeed and other job boards, so you can apply through there as well as through the app once you've kind of completed your registration. I'm going to use just this one, for example, primary TA. It'll give you a brief overview of what that role looks like, the duration. It'll also have the pay rate per hour and how kind of like I say, how long that's going to be. Again, as mentioned earlier, full transparency in terms of the roles that we're advertising. We'll always give our best to give you as much detail as possible. If that's something that you are interested in, all you would need to do is click on here, I'm interested. There'll be a box in there where you can kind of give a brief overview of why you feel like you are the best fit for that role. Coming out of that, if you go into menu, that will be in pending applications. What I find is amazing with our app, and especially with Humly, is you can actually apply to as many roles as you like. That's the kind of key. And another key to this is you don't have to be fully compliant to see our roles. All you would need to do is complete your application, complete your first round of the registration, and then you'll be able to see every role that we have to offer. Another thing it's worth mentioning, you may be looking to you may already be with Humly, or you may be looking to kind of join Humly in the future. You could be currently on a teaching assistant course, a teacher training course, whatever it may be, and you may be finishing next summer. Again, you can register at any time and you can show interest in any roles. We're already starting to see roles for next September, especially for ECTs and things like that. So again, if you sign up with Humly now, you'll start seeing those opportunities and show interest, and then we can get you forward and get you ahead of the game from everyone else. So that's kind of how the long-term roles look. And then just to cover short-term roles, this would be your day-to-day up to 3 weeks. I'm going to use this for an example. You click into a job, you will actually get a notification as well when a job is posted, depending on whether it's in your area or depending on whether your preferences are set to that. So it should pop up. Again, check the notification settings, but once it comes through, it'll give you an overview of how long that booking is. It'll give you full details of what the job looks like, and it'll also, which is one of my favorite features on the app, is Google Maps is included in with it. This is all you need to do is click into it, and that'll give you full directions on Google Maps, which will take you to that location. Underneath, we are in branch across the UK. We are pushing our schools to get more and more information on the app, that just to help you. And when you're kind of booking yourself in for roles, adding their policies on, whether it's the safeguard information, anything like that. A lot of schools are starting to do it, which is good, but it might take a little bit of time. But again, we'll give you as much information as possible, and then you'll receive a full confirmation once you've booked in. All you need to do is click this button here and then click into there. Once you're confirmed, you'll get, like I mentioned, all the information via an email, and the school also gets a confirmation simultaneously, and then you're booked in for that job. Again, we will always try and give you as much information beforehand, but within your confirmation, there'll be whoever you need to report to at reception or at the school, and they will always give you a rundown in terms of the policies and everything else that you would need. Another thing I will mention is once you have booked yourself into a school or a number of different schools, then our clients and our schools on their side have full availability in terms of booking yourself in. So they can book you directly without even having to speak to us. They just put their job on the app, they request you. Again, that's why it's so important just with availability that we make sure it's correct, just so then when that school comes in, they'll see you, they'll pop up and they can book you directly in. So there's just a couple of key kind of tips. I know some of you guys already have a whiz, I imagine, on the app, but some of you are kind of looking in, just trying to see kind of what we can offer. It is super straightforward, full transparency, and a really, really, I talk about this app all the time, but it's a really kind of easy tool to use when looking for that next role for yourself. And last but not least, just your timesheets. This is something that we just ask you to complete at the end of each assignment. All you would need to do is click into here, make sure that the times are correct, the pay is correct. You can amend this as well. All you would need to do is click on make changes. You can say if you may have been booked in for a full day and you just want to change the morning or the afternoon, something could have changed. All you need to do is just change that within that, save changes, and then that'll go through. We ask that it's super important just because it saves any kind of payroll queries the following week. But yeah, really easy to use again. So what I just want to kind of move on to lastly then is that's kind of everything on my side. I hope there's a few tips within there that's kind of will help, and we'll hopefully be able to in the near future, give some more tips on anything else. But if there is anything more you want to hear, or you need more help or advice with anything, please just get in touch with the local branch, and we'll be sure to help you. Thank you. So I'm now going to pass on to Ashley, who's going to discuss the Humly Academy, another great feature that is within the app. And thank you.
Hi everyone. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of our Humly Academy. We want you to be happy and confident in the roles that you are doing in our schools or nurseries or whatever setting that you are going into. So we have a section dedicated in our app with some courses that are designed to help upskill. You will find a course on effective behaviour management to help you understand why children misbehave and how to effectively manage the class if this does happen. Within our academy, we also offer an introduction to supporting children with special educational needs and disabilities in schools, which will explore key concepts, best practices, and strategies aimed at creating inclusive environments where each child can thrive. These courses have been developed with current educators and professionals from schools to help keep your skills up to date. Alongside this, we do also have a mandatory safeguarding course, which has been rated outstanding from our current educators that you will need to complete before going out to work with us. And we have also recently added a cyber security course, which is also set to become mandatory in every setting. Recently, we have partnered with St John Ambulance and the British Red Cross to get you a discount on our paediatric first aid course, which is now a requirement to be fully qualified in nursery settings. So make sure you keep your app up to date and keep an eye on for more courses across the next few months to be added. I'm now going to hand over to Alicia to discuss, and she's going to discuss our referral scheme.
Thank you, Ashley, and hi everyone. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about our Refer a Friend or FO scheme. It's an easy way to make a bit of extra cash, especially with Christmas upcoming. How it works is for anyone that you refer to work with Humly, all they need to do is register to work with us and then work a minimum of 1 day on supply. That's it. After that, you get a £100 cash reward and you actually get to decide what you do with it. You can either choose to keep all the money for yourself, you can split it 50-50 with the person that you've referred, or if you're feeling really nice, you can give the person you referred the full £100. It's completely up to you. To get started, all you need to do is open your Humly app, go into your profile at the top and press the Refer a Friend button. From there, you just need to share your link with whoever you would like to refer. Once the person who you have referred applies, you'll get a notification and all you've got to do is go into your referral tab in the app and then decide how you'd like to split the cash. And the best bit is there's actually no limit on how many people you can refer. So please feel free to refer as many people as you like to come and work with Humly. Thank you.
Thanks for all that information, guys. I'm now so excited to hand over to our special guest today, Catherine. Catherine's going to give us a background as to all of the roles that she's covered over the years, and also from her perspective as a head teacher, what makes an effective supply educator. Welcome, Catherine.
Hello, hi everybody. Thank you so much to the Humly staff for inviting me to do this. I feel very honoured, especially I didn't realise it was the first one, so gosh, no pressure. I'm still trying to work out how I find a job at Hogwarts on the app. I mean, that's just awesome. Okay, so I just wanted to say to you all before I start talking, well done for entering the teaching profession. I know these days it's not what it was 20 odd years ago when I joined, and you're all brave and brilliant for doing that. it's a really important job for our society and our kids. And I know that anyone that's done a teaching degree is in it because they love children or young people and see the potential in them. I'm hoping that lots of you are inspired by fantastic teachers as well. And if you're not a teacher yet and you're a TA, then you never know where it's going to lead, because I've certainly been on some journeys. I started as a play leader when my kids were tiny, and then when my youngest one went to school, I started a 3-year degree at Cheltenham, the University of Gloucestershire. I had 3 kids under 7, and it was a nightmare. And it took me a lot of hours and a lot of dedication to get my degree. And it is a hard degree because you've got to really work at it, especially because you've got teaching practice and you're studying. But it matters, and you matter as educators. I then I was very lucky back then and got my first job in a little rural primary school, and I taught nursery to year 2 in one class. So it was a baptism of fire. The planning was insane, trying to differentiate across that age range in one classroom. All of that stuff I was thrown in. If you don't have an opportunity like that, then supply is a great way to get into different settings and upskill yourself really quickly. And I would thoroughly recommend it for every teacher to do it at some point in their career. My second job was with educating traveller children across 5 different schools, and again going into each school and seeing what was great about some of them and what was terrible. It is also a really good learning curve, and you should magpie all of those ideas that you think, I'm going to do that if I'm ever in leadership or in my classroom, and then leave behind anything that you think, I don't actually think that works for children. It is a great way to get yourself into schools, and I know those first 2 jobs for me were incredibly hard and incredibly rewarding at the same time, which is just teaching, really, isn't it? Since then, I've taught in 5 counties. I've taught in infant schools and massive through academies from 2 to 18. I've taught in lots of primary schools. So I haven't taught in an SEN specific school, but I have had lots of contact with those when I was SENCO. Yeah, most of my experience is mainstream. Early years was my specialism, and then I majored in art, and then since then I've developed a huge love for children with additional needs and children, pupil premium children, just those families that need a bit of extra support. So I've been EYFS lead, I've been an art lead, we got Arts Mark, which was great. I've been inclusion lead right through in that through academy. And I've been deputy head, and then I've been SENCO for 15 years in lots of different settings. So I understand how hard your job is. And I have 6 grandchildren and I haven't got time to be a head teacher anymore. So I stepped back from leadership because I just felt like I was compromised on both jobs and I didn't want to do that. I've really enjoyed working with Humly when I was head teacher. And so I've signed up to work as one of their supply teachers, and I'm learning things even now. Every school I go in, even after all this time and experience, I still learn something every time I'm in a new setting. Every day is a learning day when you're a teacher. I love working with Humly. I love the ethos, the team feeling about it, the fact that I can have my preferences and they're honoured, and I don't feel harassed or feel guilty if I say no when I can't do work. But then if I need work, there's usually something there for me to do, which I love. I think all of the team are absolutely brilliant and really supportive as well. And that's as now as a supply teacher and previously when I was a head teacher. I like the professionalism of it, and the fact that it's very clear, everything is very clear. And I was just listening there about the academy and thinking it's so good that you can just go and do a course and feel like you're going in, especially for ECT teachers, with all of those skills that you maybe wouldn't have got if you in previous supply agencies. So every job is a learning curve, and my last job, I've done 7 years as head of school in a small rural primary school, really rural, in the middle of nowhere. So one of the problems we always had was getting staff to come out to us because we were, miles and miles from anywhere. Beautiful when you get there, but it's hard work. I took on the school when it was under threat of closure. And it had just been, the threat of closure had just been finished as I arrived. It had 2 inadequate Ofsteds, and it was a very broken community. And so for me, that whole first year particularly was about building team, and the staffing was crucial. We had to build a team. It's a small team, but it needed to be really effective really quickly so that we could aim towards a good Ofsted, which we did get in the end, by the way. And just the community felt really broken and let down. So there was a lot of kind of getting to know one another. And during that time, obviously, I was really busy because I was a teaching head. So staffing, supply staff were absolutely crucial to me in order for me to just have some headspace to do some of the planning and development work that I needed to do. And I'm going to give you my tips of how to be a great supply staff, wherever you are in your career. They're the basic things. So for me, what I needed was someone who was committed to the pupils, like showing up. I know it sounds crazy, but some suppliers has got this reputation amongst educators, I'm sure you all know, of people that just want to swan in and go home at 4 o'clock, and that's not what the job is. You're a teacher. As soon as you enter that building, you are an educator. You are an educator, you're a TA or a teacher, and you're there to do a job. And you know as soon as someone comes in the building whether they understand that or not. But that is your job. That's what you're getting paid for. So that's really important. And then commitment to the pupils is kind of like, oh, I'm here because I want to be a teacher and I want to educate young people and children. So just have that at the front of your mind as you enter the building. It's really nerve-wracking when you go somewhere new, especially. You don't know what you're going into. You don't know any of the kids or the families or anything. But you are there to make a difference. And that's why all of us are educators. I needed them to be flexible. So I might have put on, even at the last minute, someone might have crashed their car on the way to school or phoned in sick at the last minute. And if I knew I'd got supply in, sometimes they'd come in and I'd say, oh, I'm so sorry. I know you thought you were doing Key Stage 1, but please can you do Key Stage 2 for me because something's happened. So your answer is yes, of course. What would you like me to do? And then straight away, as the head, you're like, oh, this person is willing to work for me, which is great. Innovation is great. So if you think, you know, especially if someone's off sick and they haven't left detailed lesson plans, using your own initiative and thinking, well, what can I do on the spur of the moment? And that's easier the longer you've been teaching because you've kind of already taught most things. But being a little bit prepared is really important. So before I go into schools, if I know which year group I'm going into particularly or key stage, then I will go on to Twinkle, I will go on to Google, I'll have a look at the national curriculum just to see what key lessons I could take with me. You can always teach time, you can always teach times tables, you can always teach money, all of these things that are basic things in maths. Having some books with you, so I've got my own stack of like books that I take everywhere I go now, just one book per year group. See what's currently being used in schools, what you think you could quickly make a lesson out of. It's just having those things at your fingertips that you can be useful so that your time isn't just twiddling your thumbs waiting for someone to tell you what to do. Hopefully, usually you should be able to pick up a lesson plan, but it's not always the case. So able to think on your feet is really important. Willing to muck in, so you haven't got all the pressure of everything like meetings after school and everything, which I really enjoy now because I feel like I can say, oh, would you like me to do that? Should I pop that display up for you? Would you like me to go and do your playground duty? Those kind of supply teachers are gold dust. And I would ask and request for them to come back every single time because you actually feel like they really want to help you and be supportive in your school. Also, it just gives you a really good feeling of using your time wisely rather than sitting with your head in your lunchbox in the staff room. Talking of which, communication is really important. So do go into the staff rooms, read everything that's available to you on the notice boards. Before you even arrive in school, have a look at the website, maybe read the Ofsted report, even if it's inadequate, because there will be things that everyone's working towards. We were inadequate for the first 2 years I was there. We weren't inadequate as soon as I got in the building, but you can't always tell on paper what it's going to be like. But it is just worth having a really good look at kind of the basics of what the school feels like before you get there. Be professional, dress well. You don't have to put on a suit, but you do need to appear like you want to turn up, and so that parents, when you go out to the gate, can know that the kids are in trusted hands, because you are very privileged to be in front of people's children every day, and they're the most precious thing about their lives usually. So they want to see someone professional turning up. So how to do that is, as I've said, look at the school website if they haven't got one or whatever. When you get there, just look through some newsletters, just kind of to get the feel of the school and the ethos is really, really important. And then treat every new day in each school as an interview day, is my ethos anyway now as a supply educator. So if I was going to interview somewhere, then I would be selling myself a little bit. I'd be chatting to people about what I've done before, what I'm good at, what I can offer. And, you know, if you get an opportunity as well while you're there to go and watch a club being run, especially if you're new into education, go and do it. Just seize each opportunity you can, would be my advice, because that's how you grow yourself and how you become invaluable to people. And then do ask lots of questions. I know everyone is busy in school, especially leadership. They're all running around in the morning like headless chickens, answering the phone, putting out fires. So I used to love it when someone came to school and then they followed me around while I did my jobs. So I'd say, this is your classroom. And they say, okay, and I can see you're busy. I'll come with you while you do your photocopy and tell me what else I need to know about the kids that I'm going to be teaching today. Absolutely brilliant way of doing it. Do all of this with a huge smile and be really friendly, and you are onto a win, because actually just once you smile, you tell your brain you're relaxed. Apparently it's a physiological thing, and then you can just flow through your day and enjoy the day as much as you possibly can. If there is a behavior system in place, make sure you know what that is. I wish schools made them simpler. Mine was as simple as it could possibly be when I was head, because I just wanted anyone to be able to use it. If it's really complicated, ask a TA or another colleague to break it down for you, so that you know how to reward these children, and the children know that you know what will happen if they do not do what they're supposed to be doing. So be really specific about asking those questions, and also about the children in the class you're going to be teaching. If they have any SEN needs, any additional needs, if there's anyone that's coming from a wobbly home life that morning, whether you've got any other adults in the classroom and what their role is. Don't assume that they are there for you to deploy. They might be tied to one child, or they might not be tied to any children. Make sure you know if anyone's going to need to leave the room. If there isn't a seating plan, then scribble yourself down one, so you know specifically where to find those children that are going to need that little bit extra attention. The sooner you can build those relationships in the morning, when the kids arrive, the better day you're going to have. So that's when your really intense hard work comes about, building those relationships with children. And that is to do with the school ethos and the kind of flow of the day. It's really hard if you're in a classroom and you haven't got any additional adults, because you've got to judge everything fairly quickly, in which case ask lots, just lots and lots of questions. And then just be prepared. Make sure you know, if you turn up and there is nothing on the desk and you've got a year 5 class you've never met before, what on earth are you going to do with them? So yeah, just upskill yourself a little bit about that particular thing. And that is what's great about the Humly app, because you can see where you're going. Hopefully, as Chris said, people will start filling in those bits about the school and give you more context. But read it, go in as if you're going in to get a job, because that is your job for the day or the next 3 weeks, or potentially even you might get a permanent role. That's happened twice in the school while I was head. Okay, so well done everyone. Just remember to be smiling and friendly. Teaching is an acting role. Even if you're not feeling it, the kids need you, and be proud you are making a difference. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Catherine. It was really insightful, and I really love the advice, especially about the smiling, because I definitely think that goes a long way. I'm conscious of the time now, and we have had a couple of questions come in. I'm sorry I won't be able to get around them all, but those that I don't, we'll get back to you with an answer from Branch. So I'll just go in with a couple now. So I've just had one come in now. This one is, why can't I self-appoint to every booking, even if it's a day-to-day booking? I can only express interest in the app. Right, that's an interesting question, because sometimes when a school puts a booking on our online portal, they'll ask for a selection of CVs beforehand. So the self-appointment feature's turned off. You can express interest and then the school will get your CV and then they go on to make a selection from there. So that's the reason for that one. And another one that's just come in. I like this one. This is an interesting one. If we choose not to split the money on the refer a friend or foe, will our referral find out? Well, not directly. However, we do advertise our refer a friend or foe scheme on all platforms and social media. So there is the chance that they will see that. So I can't guarantee that they'll not find out if you choose not to split. That was an interesting one. And one more, we've just got time for one more. This one's probably aimed at you, Catherine, if that's okay for you to answer. How would you prepare for a trial day for a long-term role?
So I think you need to, like I said, look at it as if you're going for an interview day. So do all the research, read the Ofsted, make sure you look professional and ask lots of questions and smile and smile and smile. And if you really, really want to impress them, take in a packet of biscuits for the staff room.
That always goes down well. Thank you for that. Sorry, guys, we've run out of time for the Q&A, but as I say, we will get back to you. And to wrap things up today, it has to be about Christmas because it's just round the corner. We've got some great dates for your diary coming up. So Ashley's just going to quickly tell you about the festive social events we have planned for our educators.
Lovely, thanks Rachel. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the upcoming social events that Humly has in place. So to say thank you and to show our appreciation for all your hard work, each office is going to be holding an evening of festive fun. This is going to include some lovely merry nibbles, some drinks, and a chance for you to come along and socialise with us and some of the other Humly educators. There will also be the opportunities to play some games, have fun and some festive quizzes, if you would obviously like to join in, but it's simply just the opportunity for you to come down, let your hair down after a busy first term. You could also bring along another educator friend who's maybe looking to join supply, just so you don't have to feel like you're joining the party alone. On the slides are just the key dates for the events for the offices, so I'll just quickly run through them. In the North East, ours is going to be held on Thursday the 12th of December, just in our office. In Milton Keynes, it's on Friday the 13th at the local village hall. In Humly, South Hampshire, it is on Thursday the 12th at their office. And in Midlands, it is Thursday the 12th of December in their office as well. There'll be some marketing information to follow, so with specific times and addresses from each branch, so keep an eye on those emails. We are looking forward to spending an evening with you and having some fun before the end of the busy year. So also keep your eyes peeled in the new year for more upcoming social events and maybe even some more webinars.
Thanks, Ashley. And just to wrap things up today, I'd just like to thank you all for joining our first ever, hopefully not last, we've hopefully got more to come, community webinar. You can see all the points of contact up there on the slide. If you're not already registered with Humly and you are interested, simply scan the QR code that you can see there. It's dead straightforward to apply online with us. If you are already registered, I'd just like to say a heartfelt thank you for all of the work you've done. It's always the longest half term. It's a hard slog, but we'll be nothing without you guys. So thanks so much for all of your hard work. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.